With new releases coming out on all sorts of platforms every day, if not every hour, it can be hard to keep track of it all, let alone get a grip of the stuff that's actually worth watching. But don't worry, we're here to help you out. In this video, we'll let you in on what the most promising new Netflix releases of 2022 are. Ready, set, go. First up, Resident Evil. Netflix has already given us an anime series in the Resident Evil franchise, but in the latest return to New Raccoon City, they've gone the live-action route. The new show is coming out on Netflix on July 14th, 2022, and will have 8 episodes for its first season. It's the year 2036, 14 years after a global virus triggers the apocalypse. Relatable? Jade Wesker, who's portrayed by Bella Balinska, has to fight for survival in a world overrun by infected creatures, while also being haunted by her past, her father, and what happened to her sister, Billy, who will be portrayed by Adeline Rudolph. Expectations are high. Are you ready for the next chapter of the Resident Evil franchise? We're not really sure. Resident Evil is pretty gnarly. Next we have Persuasion. It's true, the initial reception of the first teaser trailer of the newest adaptation of Jane Austen's Persuasion have been feisty, but a closer look at that response reveals that it's mostly devout Austen fans who are worried that the film won't be true to the book, and they have every right to be protective of the book, but we think that we should all give this version of Persuasion, which will be starring Dakota Johnson as the Defiant, Lovestruck Anne Elliott, and Cosmo Jarvis as the two men pulling at her heartstrings. Persuasion will debut on Netflix on July 15, 2022. We can all use a little lightheartedness, and the trailer does promise just that, a more lighthearted look on second chances, and just how awkward they can be. And now, The Gray Man. This is another book that is based on a novel of the same name, The Gray Man, and is coming to Netflix on July 22, 2022. The Gray Man is the newest action thriller by the Russo brothers, based on a novel by Mark Greaney. Ryan Gosling will be showing off his acting skills as Court Gentry, a CIA agent who's forced to make a run for it after learning incriminating secrets about his agency, and he's just lost his usefulness to the men who hold all the power and money, despite being a legend in his covert realm. But Court Gentry will prove to them that, for him, there's no gray area between killing for a living and killing to stay alive. We can't wait to see how Gosling will get his character through this one. Next up, Uncoupled. From the creator of Emily in Paris and Sex and the City, get ready for Uncoupled, a new series by Darren Star. Uncoupled is a Netflix original that stars Neil Patrick Harris as Michael. After 17 years of what Michael thought was a perfect life and marriage, his husband asks for a divorce, completely blindsiding him, and Michael is forced to confront two nightmares wrapped into one devastating moment, losing his soulmate and finding himself a single gay man in his mid-40s. But don't worry, this is Neil Patrick Harris we're talking about. Though we'd be surprised if there isn't some wholesome wisdom tucked away in this rom-com, you're in for some real good feels when you settle in to watch Uncoupled once it's been released on Netflix on July 29, 2022. Following, we have The Sandman. Is there a trend here? Maybe, sort of. The Sandman is an upcoming fantasy drama TV series based off the comic book written by Neil Gaiman between 1989 and 1996 and was released by DC Comics. The Sandman was one of the first few graphic novels ever to be on the New York Times bestseller list and was described as a comic strip for intellectuals by Norman Mailer. And Netflix is bringing this dark and iconic superhero fantasy comic to live-action reality. The Sandman follows Dream, played by Tom Sturridge, a powerful being who is held captive by a group of occultists for 105 years. When he's finally freed, he sets out to restore his kingdom of dreaming. If you know anything about Neil Gaiman, you know you don't want to miss out on this beauty. And if you don't, The Sandman will probably give you the perfect example of what he's all about, so make sure you don't miss it once it hits Netflix. Wait up, are you sure you've added enough to your to-watch list? Just to be sure, make sure to stick it out until the end of the video to find out more about the Addams Family spinoff Wednesday, when we'll finally be able to watch Blonde, and we'll tell you all we know about the stop-motion musical Pinocchio. Just to be sure, let's take a look at some more new Netflix releases coming to our screens in 2022. But first we have Look Both Ways. This is a coming-of-age film that will probably treat anyone watching to the experience of asking themselves, what if, about their lives, no matter how old you are. The film is based on a novel of the same name and was written by Jason Reynolds in 2019. In this adaptation, Lily Reinhart takes up the role of Natalie, who we find on the evening of her college graduation is the moment where her life branches out into two parallel yet vastly different realities. In both, Natalie does her best to reach her dreams, whether it's in a direct way because she's able to follow them straight out of college, or indirect because she finds out she's fallen pregnant and will have to take care of another human being while she tries to build up her dreams regardless. Look Both Ways will debut on Netflix on August 17, 2022, and promises to dig into the power and resilience of women, the story of women all over the world. We hope that Reinhardt can live up to the expectations. Do you think she's up for the task? And now, Now, Blonde. The first teaser trailer for Blonde was as beautiful and complex as it was minimalistic, at once setting the vibe for what we can expect and showing off the effortlessness in which the gorgeous Ana de Armas has disappeared to make room for Marilyn Monroe. Blonde had to go through a few production delays, and then there was the controversy surrounding an NC-17 rating. But that's not going to slow this one down. Blonde was yet again based on a novel of the same name, and was written by Joyce Carol Oates. Blonde allows us an intimate look at the life of Marilyn Monroe, one of the biggest stars in the entire world. But more importantly, we'll be shown what that must have been like for Norma Jean Mortensen, the woman underneath the makeup of the blonde bombshell. It's available on Netflix from September 23, 2022. Better take out those tissues. This one won't be easy to watch. Next up, Pinocchio. Pinocchio was the second animated feature film that was produced by Walt Disney Productions, and an ambitious one at that. It's an animated musical fantasy film released in 1940, and was, you guessed it, also an adaptation of a book. Disney's Pinocchio is based on the 1883 novel The Adventures of Pinocchio by Carl Collodi. The Disney movie was a huge success that still makes a strong impression on people around the world to this day. There are few characters made a heavier impression on the filmmaker Guillermo del Toro like Pinocchio did, which is why he decided to make his own stop-motion musical of the story. It's been in production since 2018 and is finally coming to Netflix in December of 2022, though exactly when is not yet known. This isn't Disney though. Del Toro's Pinocchio is set to be a darker adaptation of the story, though it's not exactly lighthearted to begin with, but one would be wise to remember that the story takes place in 1930 Italy, when fascism was on the rise, just so you know what you're getting into. And at last, it's Wednesday. We wouldn't have trusted anyone but Tim Burton to take this one on. We're talking about Wednesday Addams, the cult favorite character of the Addams family. It was about time that she got her very own coming-of-age series, and we're getting closer and closer to it being a reality. Jenna Ortega, who most will know from her iconic performance in Scream, is taking on the dark teen. Christina Ricci will also make an appearance in the new series, though they're keeping it under wraps what her role will be exactly, but we know that Burton is working on it. So get ready for creepy, mysterious, spooky, and kooky for this spinoff. Don't think Charles Addams, the illustrator of the original cartoon strip in 1938, would have thought his creation would make it all the way to a spinoff in 2022, but here we are. Are you going to watch it? Why do you think so many films are based on books these days? Or has that always been a thing? Do you think? Let us know in the comments, and thanks for watching.